We're live. Fabian perspective, so expect it and accept it. It's a direct flight from Santo Domingo. Well, direct flight. We have to connect to San Antonio, Austin specifically. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And I'm with a real special guest. I used to go on Twitter Spaces a lot. I used to frequent it, and anytime I did, and I had to learn about the Spurs, this guy special, he knew everything about the Spurs, and it was time to be quiet. It was teaching time because he really covered the Spurs really well, and everything he spoke on was just like was brand new to me. He would touch on players. DeJounte Murray was of course of interest, but from projectspurs.com, my man, I got the honor of presenting Evan Townsend. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, sir. For sure.
Evan
Appreciate
Townsend.
it.
Welcome to Favorite Perspective, my brother.
Hey, appreciate you for having me, man. Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
No, of
That,
course.
yes, sir. Let's get started, man. We were talking much beforehand. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get to it.
Oh man. We were talking
I'm
about
ready.
New
I'm
York.
ready now.
We were
That was
talking about
funny.
New York City. We were talking about New York City and sowing our oats here. I did basketball wise. I was just telling you how I was having arguments about RJ Barrett and everyone was saying this, that, and the third. But he's actually part of the reason why I even paid any mind to the Spurs. So when I be on Twitter Spaces and I would hear about, I would watch them. DeJounte Murray stood out, like I said last season, but it was really Keldon Johnson, and he's the first guy I definitely want to talk about. The Spurs are 6-9 right now. They're one game
Mm.
out of the play-in, which is too early. But if I would have told you they were going to be in company with Golden State before the season started, you would have been okay with it. But this ain't okay. Um, but the Spurs are a couple weeks ago they were leading the league in assists and team
Hmm.
assists, and now they're fourth, which is not too far behind.
Hmm.
And they a net rating of minus 7.3.
Hmm.
How do you well? How would you explain that? What's going on with them? Is it just their defense? Because it is, I think, like 24th in the league.
Yeah, so when it comes down to the Spurs' fluidity and their rotations in their lineups, we don't have a backup point guard. We don't have many people that can create for themselves in any type of scenario. It's team basketball. I forgot the exact number, but it was above 300. I think it was 305 or 306. The average amount of passes the team makes, and that results in wins. And we're 11-0 without DeJounte Murray in that stat. So obviously DeJounte was a more ball dominant guard. Where Trey Jones, he's often called the table setter of the team. With him, being just not just a pass first passive point guard, but he is looking to get everybody going. And the Spurs have, like I said, no one that can create a shot for themselves, and everyone has to knock down their open threes, be efficient on the dribble handoffs, know exactly when to dump down in the pick and roll. And you were mentioning highlighting Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson is the only 30 point per game threat on any given night that can't create for himself. He's 6'5", has been a damn near sniper from three ever since last December. Before 2022, the calendar year, this dude was shooting like 22% from three. As soon as the next year came around, lighting up 40%, was in the top five. Now I think he's only second to Steph Curry in the amount of 3-pointers he's made in terms of field goals this year. So nobody really expected that. He was kind of like the forgotten, disrespected. Why is this guy here? Olympic forward that Coach Pop kind of gave that little helping hand to a couple years back. But yeah, man. In terms of the Spurs team right now, the rotation, the people that are actually available, they're making the most out of it. Keldon Johnson's the most improved player candidate. Devin Vassell's the most improved player candidate. Jakob Poeltl is probably the most valued asset in terms of a center as of right now, in terms of the trade market. Trey Jones could be thrown in there as well. So it's just like, a lot of people thought this team, including myself, I was like, how are we even going to score 80 points? How are we going to make this happen? But, Coach Pop is the greatest coach of all time. He's had the same motion circle offense. You wait you wait for the best available shot. You pass. Try and make the extra pass. You look for the best playmaking wings that can do that for you, and the centers that can finish around the rim, float game, Any type of little Olajuwon shimmy shake we got around the left hand, right hand. We make the best out of pretty much anybody. You can look at Charles Bassey. You can look at the resurgence of Zach Collins. Even Jock Landale was getting minimal minutes last year, and now he's a fan favorite of the Suns. We teach and mentor a lot of these forgotten non-NBA G League level talent guys and make them, rotation ready players. And that's been a thing for years. We could talk about staff, we could talk about players, we could talk about anything. The Spurs organization is like the green example of what you should do in terms of building and in terms of just valuing players for what they should be and turn and develop into what they could be one day.
Well, I was gonna jump to that last, but it was too much. It was too easy of a transition. I think Popavich and RC Buford are like Baby and Slim. They like the cash money of the NBA. Like, and nobody talks about that because think about it. Tim Duncan was Lil Wayne, and they had Drake and Kawhi Leonard, but he left. Had he had that would be 4 decades in where the Spurs would just be flat out, and they're still a top tier organization. They just don't have that guy. And what is it about RC Buford and Popavich? Because, like you said, they got rid of DeJounte Murray. I get right. I mean, they traded him, but personality type wise, he's a little 50-50. He's a little dicey, like the Steven Jacksons of the world. There's a lot of those type A personalities. Popovich ain't having them around, no matter how good you are. Well, I think that's the dynamic. I think we haven't seen like let's say John Morant. If the Spurs had a chance to have had John Morant, that would have been so interesting because it would have reminded me instantly. And I know it's a what if game, but it definitely would have reminded me of Larry Brown and Allen Iverson. That swagged out point guard who elevates the team and clearly would like he brings a different superstar dynamic to the squad. Would someone like a John Morant have had Popovich doing the gritty on the sideline?
You just took it from my mouth, man. I was gonna say I don't know if I don't know. Hey, Jock, one of them in practice and give him the aux and listen to NBA YoungBoy. No, I don't know if Coach Pop is gonna be with all that. I think, and I'm saying that as respectful as I can. John Morant is just a bright young man. He definitely represents where he's from and his culture, and obviously Memphis is like bread and butter to him. They welcome him with open arms. Even how they tweet, the steal that everyone saw, the behind the back around Larry Nance and the finish at the rim, the tweet was him Sirski or yes Sirski. I'm like, the Spurs would never do that. So, but going back to basketball, in terms of the Spurs organization and what they look for in terms of example for not just young men for the team, but young men for the community, you have to represent yourself well. We'll talk about DeJounte Murray in a second, but in terms of like the prime example of what the Spurs, I think, are looking for, is somebody that is respectful, somebody that knows exactly how to approach not just a day-to-day basis, but to a T, how to approach a game, a good mindset. And if you don't, you're willing to learn. A lot of guys think that, hey, I'm the 5-star recruit coming in here, just got $1 million, you know what I'm saying? Got all these all these opportunities, women, this and that, and you can get caught up and lost in the sauce. I'm not going to talk about certain teams that allow that to happen, but you can think that for a second and say that's the exact opposite of the Spurs. And
but how do you think Popovich makes that happen? Because that's the one thing about the Knicks, where as many criticisms I had of Thibodeau, he does have command of the room. He does have respect from his. I've never heard a player outright disrespect him, and I think he at least has that attribute from Popovich. The only other thing is the rotations, the being able to learn to change on the fly. That's a strategy on the court, but off the court, they got to be a different kind of way to earn respect. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the Vernon Maxwell story. Vernon Maxwell was drafted by them, and they got rid of him like the next day, and it wasn't done disrespectfully. He just did it his own way. Is it just that military background and I mean, and even RC Buford, like he started off as a scout for Popovich, and now he's the CEO. Before he was, he worked his way from a scout to CEO. What is what is the dynamic between them?
It's a no-fly zone. You can't be disrespectful. You can't, allow yourself to be put into the limelight in the wrong way. We can talk about DeJounte Murray now because this is exactly where this is the leeway here. DeJounte Murray was a great actor. DeJounte Murray did anything and everything he could to not provoke how he really is. DeJounte Murray is from yeah, he's from
From
the
the
hood in
bottom.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's seen a lot. He's gone through a lot, and much respect to him and his family and his upbringing. But you can't hide how you truly are, especially when you're I don't want to say disgruntled, but when you're just naturally, yeah, I guess, yeah, frustrated, disgruntled. He's been like that for a while, and like I said, he was just a great actor. The Spurs, before the contract ended, every single Spurs star player, co-star. We have a store down here in Texas called HEB. It's like the Kroger. It's like the Holy Grail of everything. They got everything in there, right? Pretty much DeJounte Murray was never in that commercial. DeJounte Murray was pretty much never seen besides one time, and I missed it. Get this. When he signed to New Balance, he gave away all of his hype beasts, Jordans, Nikes, Off-Whites, whatever. And I was literally in town. I was at work. And he gave it away at I forgot what grocery store it was. And he had it all lined up. And I was at work. I was so mad. Where's my size 13? I'm so mad. I could have gotten it for free. Could have met the kid for free. But I was I guess whoever got him definitely needed him, definitely wanted him. Shouldn't have said that, but at the end of the day, sorry. At the end of the day, I kid you not, DeJounte Murray is somebody who did what he should have done, but towards the end, I can definitely promise you, I was gonna send you the clip. He even was caught on camera during a rodeo road trip against the Pelicans, I believe. We were just getting blown out the water. It was a rivalry that shouldn't be a rivalry, but he's trying to showcase that he's the guy, most improved player, and he's having a terrible game. Coach Popavich trying to embrace him, and he, in the timeout, and he kind of gives him a armbar stiff arm, and people even highlighted that, and I saw that, and I was just like, media is gonna talk about that, no, verified, no newsletter, nobody's gonna highlight that, talk about that. People were on Twitter, highlight, talk about it, nothing. I guess obviously it's heat of the moment. We all play basketball, that kind of stuff. But hey, you don't do that to the GOAT, right? You don't do that to Coach Pop. And then a couple games later, same scenario, we're getting blown out. I think we're in Memphis. Him and Ja were going at it all season. They don't like each other. Him and Ja, that's gonna be a rivalry for years. They're button heads, most improved player candidates. And they just don't, they just don't mesh. But literally,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that him and
yeah.
Ja had, but it doesn't
Well,
surprise me because Ja's a type A dude
mm-hmm,
too. DeJounte's a type A dude too. Being
mm-hmm,
in Atlanta, I
mm-hmm,
don't know if Trae Young is aggressive like that, but he does have a chip on his shoulder as well. I didn't know
mm-hmm.
that DeJounte and Ja had a little beef
Yeah.
though.
So I'll highlight that in a second. But when it comes down to them in that moment, when I think it was in the third quarter, DeJounte literally was just like, no, you ready? No, like I had to make sure I get my acting skills right. He literally slammed the ball down, got mad, and Derek White was already gone. This is right around the trade deadline, and he literally said, "Trade me." And I said that in a space. People talked that, people highlighted it, and I kid you not, I was just like, "This guy's gone." And ever since that, I was like, "This guy is gone. You
Right.
can't come back from that." You're not representing the team. You're not even retweeting anything. You're just talking about your own stature. He's retweeting stat muse rather than the Spurs. I'm just like, what is going on?
But here's the
So,
thing. See, I think the difference between him and a John Morant, and look at SGA for OKC right now.
mm-hmm,
There's a different level. Like DeJounte Murray, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but you're
mm-hmm.
not John Morant, and you're not SGA. What SGA is doing this year, because the bottom line
Yeah.
is, last 3 seasons, 32 wins, 33 wins, 34 wins.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty expendable. You ain't even a 500 ball club, and I think a lot. I mean, again, going back to Steven Jackson, who says because he's the guy that really I like Steven Jackson, but I'm kind of iffy about him because bottom line is this guy's running an organization like a Fortune 500 company. Say whatever you want. They had the offseason thing with Primo, whatever, but they like you pointed, like you just mentioned right now, media wise, they nip a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these things in the bud. So the Allen Iverson types, like Iverson's another different story because again, you're talking about a talent that brings this team to another level. That's why John Morant is different because he leads the team, man. He got the whole team behind him. He seems so engaged and involved with the squad. I did want to move to Keldon Johnson real quick
Mm-hmm.
because Nah, he's not. He's not John Morant, and and he's not. I didn't know who was better between him and DeJounte Murray. DeJounte's probably more active on defense, but
Mm,
you couldn't listen. Keldon Johnson defensively 1-on-1 is big time, and I started
mm,
watching him more because he was drafted same draft as John Morant, as
mm,
RJ Barrett, but late
mm,
first round, and now he's probably the fourth best player in the draft. 23, 3 and 5 this year, one steal. The what stood out to me last season at the end of last season, the last 28 games,
mm,
26 and 3, 47, 36, 80 splits. The
mm,
only it was only he was one of six 22-year-olds. John
mm,
Morant, LaMelo, RJ Barrett, Darius Garland, Jalen Green, and Tyler Hero with those stats. But guess what? 5 of those guys were drafted top 5. Tyler Hero
mm,
was drafted 13th. Keldon Johnson is drafted 29th.
mm.
Explain the what makes this guy exceptional for someone who's not a John Morant.
Yeah, so Keldon Johnson, like I said earlier, is the only 6'5", 6'6" wing that can score 30 points. I don't want to say on any given night, but on a great night, and can't create for himself. No cross trail between step backs. You're not looking at him to get you the last bucket. 3-2-1 scenario. That was DeMar DeRozan. That was DeJounte's role. And, Keldon Johnson is just he's just a scoring, I've trying to put a definition to it. He's not a 3-and-D wing. He's not really that great on defense. But on offense, let me explain. Pump
Yeah,
fake,
hold on.
dribble.
'Cause now you're confusing the hell out of me. I saw him compared to Rashard Lewis in the article, and I'm just
No,
like, okay,
no,
he's not that
no,
tall. Really? Okay.
no, no. That's a poor comparison. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, wow.
But Keldon, respectfully, of course, Keldon Johnson is 6'5", 6'6". Lost 20 pounds over the summer. He highlighted that during the preseason. Was really just a little bit just heavy setting on the shoulders, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. When he drives to the basket, pump fake, he's not going to take you off the dribble. He's not going to blow by you. He's not that electric. Doesn't have that quick of a first step. But his shoulders, at arm length, not crazy. I think it's like 6'8", 6'9", if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. He basically has Manu Ginobili just teaching him that Euro step, the 1, 2, fillet off the rim. He's not going to slam on a lot of people, but he always finds a way to get it and one. Now, I promise you, if Keldon Johnson drops 25 points, right, the Spurs win, he's going to have an and one. He's going to have 4 threes. It's like at any given night. Granted, his shot is still kind of catapultish. It's still pretty slow. It's wet.
Yeah.
It's wet. Excuse my language, but it's wet. Literally, I promise you, from the right corner, from the right right wing, sorry, in the top of the key, it's money. It's been like that since, like I said, last December. Chip England was the greatest shooting coach this west side of the Mississippi. He's in OKC now. We miss him dearly, but hey, he was working with Keldon in depth for the past few years, and he literally helped him fix his shot. It was to the side, it was too slow. He wasn't getting it off, and now it's literally a little bit. It's still a little slow. It's up. It's a good rotation, and he can get it off. And he's, like I said, he's left open a lot. People don't honestly they cannot let that happen in the near future. They have a good scouting report on Devin Vassell. They love his mid-range game. But Keldon Johnson, teams got to do their research. You cannot leave that man open. I know it's the motion offense I was telling you. Pretty much it's a pick and roll, then some off-screen ball action on the other side, getting people going, cross on the baseline. Someone's going to be open, right? And Keldon Johnson, lock and loaded. What do you say, 43%? I think as of right now, yeah, he's money. So, I'm not saying he's going to make an all-star selection this year, but in the near future, I want you to remember like the great Detroit Pistons teams, the Bulls teams with 3 or 4 all-stars on one team. Obviously, the fan vote and social media may have some leverage in it, but give Keldon Johnson a first and second star. Let him be like the Rip Hamilton. Let him be the Luol Deng, and he'll make one all-star team. Same thing with Devin Vassell. I'm super high on them. The confidence, they're embracing of, they're embracing the San Antonio culture. They're always out in the community, giving back, doing great things, staying out of trouble. The commercials I told you, they're not only they're in them, but they're great actors. So
Right.
Keldon Johnson's done a great job. I honestly wish him the best. And honestly, if you want to talk about value, you talked about RJ Barrett's contract, you talk about Tyler Hero's contract. You want to pull up Keldon Johnson's contract, that's $18 million over the next 4 years. and it's kicking in next year, and that's probably the highest value, the best value for him himself. DeJounte Murray, $17 million. Derek White, $17 million. You catching a pattern here?
Right.
I'm not saying we're going to ship Keldon Johnson out. I know that we're probably going to be tanking, but in terms of the value, we pretty much locked and load anybody and everybody to the best of their ability. That's honestly at the right level of, in terms of play, in terms of priority, and just, I think honestly that's what we really talk about RC Buford for, just making sure they stagger who's like not going to be a 20 million, not going to be a max player type of guy. Because before Kawhi Leonard left, there was a whole debacle with him and his uncle Dennis about their contract, their extension. Then he got hurt. Then Tony Parker was in his ear. I had the same injury. Why aren't you coming back yet?
Right.
Yeah. So all that jazz was all that. But yeah, we can wrap it up about Keldon. We can wrap it up about that. So
yeah, no, I was, because I may have wanted to get into Kawhi when I wanted to talk about Pop, because that was it was interesting to me. But you brought up Devin Vassell, 19 a game, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, almost a steal a game. What impresses me the most, 45% from shooting, 42% from three. Like you said, he's really good. What impresses me the most is half a block a game. That's no small feat. And he's a good defender. He seems like he's very all around the place. As bad as the Spurs have been, what stands out to you, or how has he really impressed you this year? Because this is his third season, so it's a jump up.
Yeah, everybody kind of predicted that Devin Vassell was going to be like our volume shooter, our volume scorer. You really can't compare him to anybody in the league currently. JJ Redick was kind of like the only guy to highlight him last year on his podcast. He said, "Oh, he's Mikal Bridges." No, he's not. Mikal Bridges is a way better defender. Mikal Bridges really.
How many things? Because JJ Redick, listen, man, I like JJ Redick, but he has this. One of my favorite shows ever is Mad Men. You ever seen Mad Men before?
Oh, for sure, of course.
He has this fake Mad Men, old school, cross my legs, pinky in the air while I'm drinking my wine vibe to him. But he says a lot of wrong shit. Exactly. What are you talking about, JJ Redick? Like that, for you to say that, but I love it though. I love it though. You know why, Evan?
What's up?
Because he's a former player. All you're proving to me is that you're a fan just like me. This doesn't really separate you. If you don't study the game, I don't care who you are. You're gonna sound just like that. You're gonna make mistakes just like me. Anyway, continue. My bad. Devin Vassell.
No, you're good.
He's
man.
not. He's not. Mikal Bridges.
He's not Mikal Bridges. People are highlighting. Oh, he scored 26, 27 on only 16 dribbles. He's the next Klay Thompson. No, he's not. No, he's not. I have a name for you. I've said this in plenty of spaces. You may have heard it. Devin Vassell. Let me make this really clear. I'm gonna have to sit up here.
Oh.
Devin Vassell will be the next Richard Hamilton. Devin Vassell will be the third option, possibly on a championship contending team, that you live and die through him when you need a bucket, when you need a mid-range jumper, a dribble handoff, pick and pop, a two-man game, overload where he's driving around, where he's running around the baseline, double screen, elevator screens action. That's him. We saw the Penny Hardaway dribble step back and money. Let me tell you, that's a self-creation movie. Not a lot in that bag, but that's a self-creation movie. In terms of Devin Vassell, a skinny wing, 6'5" or 6'6", 6'7" with the dreads. He got some new dreads now. Yeah. He's not going to take a lot of people off the dribble. He has a lot of ability to get to the rim, finishing at the rim. He slammed on a few people last year, the Duncan Robinsons of the world, the Max Struses of the world, the Scrubs of the world, but not Scrubs, sorry. But when it comes down to it, he knows his back. It's all about touch. When he gets going, when he's hot, when he can knock down, like I said, that mid-range in the paint, right outside the free throw line jumper, let me tell you, he's gonna get 20 points and a half on. He's done that twice this year already. And in the second half, they're like, okay, man, we're not letting this guy get any. We're fronting him. We got the Robert Covingtons of the world on him. We got the PJ Tuckers. We got the 3-and-D guys of the world. And it's just like, we can't allow him to get going because he will literally shoot you in the foot. 7 threes in a play-in game. He pretty much was the life of us to try and continue our season last year. DeJounte Murray was out. not out, but he was out of it just with the sickness. He wasn't 100%. We were messing with the rotation. Primo started. Lonnie Walker was mad. He was liking tweets about getting me out of here, stuff and that. And, sure enough, Lonnie the Laker 3 months later. So right now, Devin Vassell is, I don't want to say the most valuable player on the team. I would like to say it's Keldon and then Jakob, then Devin. But without Devin scoring, we're not going to win a game. Devin Vassell needs to have 16, 17 points. And in terms of his efficiency, man, like when I said when he gets going, it's from 17 for 20. Let me get that right. 12. Let me get that right. Because people people could be like, when did you score 40 points? No. It was 12 for 17. Sorry, I got my numbers wrong. 12 for 17 for scoring, and just like he can definitely just light it up on any given night, but he has to get going. And with a ball dominant guard like DeJounte, with a ball dominant wing like DeMar the season before, granted he was a lot younger. He didn't adjust to the NBA speed right away very well. But like I said, once he gets going, the confidence has a mismatch on him. Cross dribble between two dribbles right here to the left, pull up mid range, cash every single time. Doesn't even hit the net. So
he did have a career high 29 against the Clippers, but he was on a minutes restriction, right? Was he okay? Was it from injury?
So basically, he had just came back from an injury, and Coach Pop never likes to rush his guys back. He'll even try and to throw some tomfoolery out there and say he's questionable, and maybe it's just like I hate to even talk about Primo here, but Primo had a left buttock sprain, stuff like that. So it's just like they'll come up with the craziest injuries just to throw some guys off his rotations for the opposing team, so coaches don't know how they should approach it. But yeah, it's I didn't want to say it, but
it's just way too crazy for that guy to be involved in any type of sprain of that nature. But is Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, are they making up for it? I'm gonna get to Jeremy Sohan in a second. Sohan also, are they making up for what they're missing with Primo, or are they adding more to it?
Yeah, so I would like to think that that's Josh Richardson's role, because he's the veteran that kind of took a lot of his minutes. Blake Wesley went out. He had an MCL sprain. He was a combo guard that turned into a point guard that when we really needed him to be. We didn't sign a backup point guard, so really just throwing him out in the fire. Primo was supposed to be the emergency backup point guard. And now with both of them gone, we don't have one. It was Josh Richardson and then Point Sohan the other night. And that was pretty ugly. So, but in terms of the hole that Primo left, I'll talk about him I don't want to talk about him long, but for 10 seconds. He was pretty much the Anthony Simons, the Tyler Hero, the combo guard, the initiating, just shizzle. I can self-create. I can step back. I can cross dribble between, step back. I can do anything and everything you want me to do on a 3-level basis. That's not efficient, but he had the red carpet rollout. He was the face of the brands. He was supposed to be the guy. And you think about that, and it's just like, okay, Devin's been here longer. Keldon's an Olympic gold medalist. Why is it Primo? Primo was he had the fancy moves. He can, the drag dribbles, the flashy throw over the arm, fancy moves. He made people stumble in the preseason last year. And all of a sudden, everyone was just like, "Oh, we actually like this kid," So that hole in our roster is really evident, though. And we've been winning games because everybody has gotten going. Jamie Sohan, we talk about him now, has been the definite glue for this team. I didn't think that he was going to be thrown right in the fire as a starter right away. I thought it was going to be Isaiah Roby's job to lose. Pop doesn't like to have his players be put in position to where they are not ready, to where they look bad, to where he looks bad to put him in there in the first place. And Jamie Sohan literally was so ready for the assignment right off the rip. A little bit of misreads, a little bit of ball watching, just kind of caught in the how do you say the highlights or the limelights of the NBA, just the bright lights. Sorry, I couldn't get that reference down, but literally when it comes down to it, his ability to grab the ball, push it in transition, and if you can't find the right man, he'll dribble 4 times up the court, get 2 feet in the lane, kick out to an open 3. Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Josh Richardson, money every single time, making that extra pass, guarding and locking down. Let me make this clear. I'm gonna go back from top to bottom recently. Damian Lillard 2 for 7. Steph Curry, 3 for 5, but it's Steph Curry. Steph Curry, guys.
The last game, I mean, he went off.
Yeah,
They all went off.
yeah.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man blocked Rudy Gobert at the rim. I wish he got the Giannis assignment. He probably would have gave him. Or I can't count that figure. Let me move that figure down.
Wait.
Giannis was scared.
Evan,
Giannis was
Evan,
scared.
slow down,
Yeah,
Evan.
yeah. I'm just saying. Giannis was out. He came back the next game. He could have. You know what I'm saying?
You just said that he got caught up in the limelight. Do not get caught up in that Giannis thunderstorm. He too small.
He would have.
Too small.
Yeah,
Giannis, the Greek freak, is not for play.
I'm just messing with you, but no, we dominated that game, and it was the Charles Bassey show. It was the Jamie Sohan show. We were just lighting it up. It was the first time wearing those throwback teal blues. It was a good vibe to change the chord. They were playing 90s hip hop. Everyone was just enjoying the vibe, and it was just good to see the team having fun, even with the depleted roster. I wasn't really paying attention too much. I had some work to do that game. I was there, but there was a lot of just, man, it was a fun time. But let me break this down for you. The Spurs right now have a fun team. We just don't have a star player. And once we have that star player, I'm not saying we'll be contending, but we'll be the Toronto Raptors. We'll be maybe like a year elevated Detroit Pistons. We'll be Houston Rockets that without the dysfunction, but the Houston Rockets with the star player and the flashy highlight dunks and the flash, the things that people want to see, but everybody doesn't want to see the 24 seconds run down, Spurs basketball, not a star player, no step backs, no flashy plays, no buzzer beaters. 1 year away from that. And right now, this team is floating around the 10th, 11th seed. If we can find a way, if they can find a way, by March, by the trade deadline, Jakob Poeltl, sayonara, Boston, Miami, the Lakers, even Golden State may want you for 2 first-round picks. Something. As long as it's not a current 9th grader, as long as I can know who he is. Currently, that's the only requirement I have. Trey Jones, maybe. He's been playing so well that we may not want to pay him up to 18 mil. Remember I told you about that price range? He may be too good for that. And, you look at his brother. He got that bag. Is Trey Jones a starter-level player in this league? He's a table setter, but we kind of want Scoot Henderson. We kind of even want maybe another Cason Wallace, Anthony Black. These guys are fantastic prospects in terms of all-around, not just pass first point guards, but defensive, Lonzo Ball, get everyone going, and that's a better prospect than Trey Jones. And I would be kind of I don't say it would be disrespectful to see him immediately move to the second unit, but you got to think of what he would want. He'd probably want to be the best backup, not say next to his brother, but alongside, getting the same bag of his brother, in the limited role for a contending team. And that Isaiah Roby, the Doug McDermotts of the world, the Jay Richards of the world, these guys are making $13 million, and that's the highest paid player on the team, but the lowest paid player on the contending team, besides rookie and second year contracts. So, we really got to get it going. We got to get some trades. I'm super excited to see, Malachi Brandon come back. I would love to see Don Barlow get some NBA minutes. Charles Bassey's from the San Antonio area, was a forgotten prospect in Philly. Doc Rivers didn't want to give him a chance, and now he's dominating. He's dominating the second unit. So, this team could look a lot different, and by the next time I'm on here next year, or they can look damn near the same with Wembanyama. So, who knows, honestly.
Are you thinking that's the plan? Because the whole tank thing, I think they changed the rules up, so they're trying to go against that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how old you are. I just wanted to say real quick,
26.
26. So you don't remember Rodman on the Spurs. And every time I see Jeremy Sohan, every time I see Jeremy Sohan, Google a Rodman picture on San Antonio. Pink hair, number 10. It threw me off. I thought I was bugging watching the highlight. Like, am I playing NBA Live 95? So, but do you see? Obviously, I see him being, and I saw that also, that he's a great defender. He has the potential to be this. That is all NBA potential defense going on there. With that being said, what can we do? Because the tanking thing for Wembanyama, I really don't understand it. I think you still have to remain competitive and just collect a whole bunch of draft picks. I think everyone like OKC, Utah, you see them collecting draft picks. Are they collecting draft picks to put themselves in position to trade for the draft pick? I don't even understand what's going on.
So teams don't start tanking. People don't understand this. You don't tank from the right off the rip of the season. You tank towards January and February. You want your assets that aren't going to be on the team that you want to trade look great. The Spurs did it a little bit with Thaddeus Young last year. We got him. That's how we got Malachi Brandon. You know, you think of or Blake Wesley. Yeah, that was a 25th pick. But realistically, you want your assets to not get injured. You want your assets to look efficient, and you want your assets to not seem like a nuisance to your team, not seem like a negative to your team. So they may not talk in terms of the media. They may not, be super go lucky to do media in terms of the Spurs, like how they do games and stuff like that. They may not look too into it, and it'll be clearly obvious that Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott, possibly even Jakob will be moved. And they've done a great job of representing the team, representing the city. They haven't done anything wrong. Josh Richardson has even embraced Coach Pop and has even been talked about and saying, "Hey, I'll be down to stay here." Same with Jakob, same with everyone else. But it's a business, and the moves that lead to tanking are off the court or in the front office. So if the Lakers call and say, "Hey, we got a 3-team trade," whether if it's not is Russ involved, I'd rather not have Russ on this team, whether if it's for 2 seconds or for 2 days, for the rest of the month or the rest of the year. But whether if it is, as long as we can, find ourselves in the position to get in the top 10. I know that may sound like, oh, it's a top 10. You can only get the top 5. This draft is so loaded, man. You're gonna get a stud in the top 10 without a doubt. Last year's is Paolo Banchero probably would not be in the top. He'll probably be third, but there'll be an argument if he's top 5. That's how good this next draft class is. So, and Paolo's been incredible. Paolo's playing on an all-star level right now. That's how. Yeah. So Scoot is definitely gonna have a lot of, I don't want to say Derrick Rose, a lot of De'Aaron Fox type of moments, but he's his own prospect. He's a wing in a point guard's body that can get to a paint at any point in time. Wembanyama is a freak that we've all seen put on display. And without those 2 games in Vegas, people wouldn't understand how good he is. They would just see the highlights and think, oh, he's injury prone, this and that. That shit is done.
No.
He's that's done.
I see a lot of Porzingis in Wembanyama. A little more fluid, a little more active. Porzingis was that broke my heart. That was the last Knicks jersey that I bought, and when they traded him, it broke my heart because it was just like the Mavericks. You're in Texas. The Mavericks,
man.
When you have the leverage like that, Mark Cuban wants this guy, who, by the way, is not getting credit for kind of like choosing Doncic over his entire regime for the last 20 years before that. But when you have that much leverage on your side for someone to trade away someone like a Porzingis, who I was high on, Wembanyama kind of looks like that, Ralph Sampson type. That's amazing. Is there anyone else, in case you can't get the Wembanyama and how you say his name, Scoot
Henderson? Yep.
Scoot Henderson. If you can't get these guys, who are these other players? I don't watch college ball like that. I think it's kind of like, I have my own opinions about it, but I don't watch college ball. Who are the 5 players that you would see, in order or whatever you like, that you want to see the Spurs aiming for? They can't get either one of them.
Gotcha. So, it's a real big question mark of who's the number 3 prospect in this next class. I'll just go off the top of my head. You're going to love this comparison. You ready? So I'm not saying he's the 3rd guy, but I'll just say he's the best overall wing, the shooting guard, small forward, RJ Barrett build that probably will be better than RJ Barrett. I'm talking about Dariq Whitehead. Dariq Whitehead has been playing at Monteverde's with RJ Barrett. He's with RJ Barrett for the past, 4 or 5 years. Kate Cunningham, Precious Achua, Scotty Barnes. He's been getting training with NBA, NFL trainers. His brother's in the NFL. This guy's super humble. He's at Duke to get the icing on the cake, the 5-star efficiency, the 5-star treatment, just making sure he's getting everything from the training, the off-the-court stuff. And when I tell you, 3-level scorer that will be exactly like RJ Barrett, but probably better, you're looking at Dariq Whitehead. If you want to take that 3, if you want to take a more efficient wing in the new NBA, 6'7", long wingspan, great kid, great smile, you're looking at him. Everybody talks about the Thompson twins. I'll talk about them for a second. You can remember Amen. You can just say Amen. He does it all. He's the point guard. They're the same size, pretty much same length. Listen, this kid has the confidence of, I don't know, like a 30-year-old vet at the schoolyard park with playing against 5-year-olds. He'll throw the craziest passes, Luka type passes, Jason Williams elbow bump passes behind the back. cross dribble tween, mellow pass across the lane, and it's just like I've never seen anything like it from a prospect at 6'7", has the ball handling of somebody on the lines of you can't give anybody on the lines of Kyrie type of handles, but he'll try the Kyrie moves. It's like it's just all just there. It's just the fluidity and having the quick first step, the length, like I said, to be able to finish at the rim. Not the greatest shooter, doesn't really have a mid-range game. The flow game needs some work. And Asar, it's just like he's the wing that's just his brother. He's the Asar that'll sauce you up, the same shebang. Euro step. I'll finish with you like that. It's just he's just overall just a funky, fluid wing that honestly is not a 3-level scorer right now. He can shoot from mid-range. He can knock down the three. He's a better defender. They're asked to do a lot with the competition level of like a JV, varsity, and Montana type of competition sometimes. But they're definitely doing the best that they can. They showcase a lot during the summer in different tournaments. They are NBA ready. They have an NBA body now. But in terms of frame, in terms of their athleticism, in terms of them being rotation ready, not so fast. These guys need a lot of seasoning. These guys need to hit the weight room. These guys need to have an NBA level trainer in depth, not just the OTE trainer in Atlanta, but an NBA trainer that literally will tell you how the teach you the ropes of not just the game in and out. They're doing their best like that in OTE, but you can just look at him and say, yeah, this guy needs another year in college rather than a first year. He's not going to be. They're not going to be shade on sharp type of prospects. They're not going to impact any type of thing, any type of team like that. They may have moments like that, but in terms of of 20, 25 minutes, give him 12, 13, then second, third year. We'll see what's up. Cam Whitmore.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask you for your fifth guy. Okay.
I think that'll be my fourth. I'm not gonna lie. I can talk about this all day, man.
Really, you're a college guy?
Oh, I'm a draft analysis, man. We listen. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Cam Whitmore will probably be the next Scotty Barnes. Cam Whitmore is all around dual forward that is at Villanova with a bunch of seniority, with a bunch of guys that are looking at him and saying, yeah, just be our first option. That's how good he is. Right now, his shot isn't as efficient as you would want it to be. But when you think about the scouting report on Scotty Barnes, it was, his 3-point shot. Oh yeah, he's a good playmaker, but his decision making, Cam Whitmore, same thing, same shebang. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he may take his Villanova team on a deep run. If not, that may hurt his stock a little bit because, like I said, he's the dual forward. He's the initiator of the offense. He's the guy. Yes, they have a lot of guards and shooters around him, but he's going to be the guy for that team. And then if I had to name one more, man, I don't want to say Nick Smith just because I feel like he probably will fall out of that top 10. He's the number one shooting guard at Arkansas, but he's playing with Anthony Black and Jordan Walsh. They made that. Who knows is going to be the first pick out of them? Everyone's kind of safe on Nick Smith, but Nick Smith may just be the Brandon Boston of this draft class. When you're somebody who's got to be supposed to be the guy, supposed to have the first looks, and you're not as efficient, you're getting locked up by the opposing team, and you're getting shot out the game, you're going to be a second-round prospect in a loading class. So I'm not going to talk about him, but great kid. I can definitely eat my words there. Recorded podcast, may cancel me later, but that's my opinion. Man, oof. I want to say Keontae George out of Baylor. I really want to. But I got to say Cason Wallace. Cason Wallace was a forgotten lottery guy, lottery prospect from Kentucky, from Richardson, Texas. He was going at it with him and Anthony Black for years in our Dallas area. They're going to have probably 5 kids in the lottery taken from Dallas, so that's good for them, good for that area. Cason Wallace is literally a triple threat, a double threat every single night. Cason Wallace is the leader and the guy that you would want on as a point guard for your team in terms of scoring, in terms of defense, in terms of mid-range, in terms of playmaking. I can't give him a top 10 lock, but he's been playing so well. 7 steals the other night. 7 steals against Michigan State. Everyone's watching. Yeah, he put them in jail. So I got to go with Cason Wallace. He's going to be a definite. I don't want to say like stud, but he's going to be on that Tyrese Halliburton type of impact. May make an All-Star team one year. This is my opinion. This is an 18-year-old kid I'm talking about. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see in the future.
I was high on Halliburton for over a year. I was watching him because we could have drafted him instead of Obi, which I'm 50-50 on. But I think Halliburton is better than Obi, and he's He's in the conversation now for best point guard, and it wasn't like that a year ago. Him and Fox, obviously, they had to split time at handling the rock. But
Mhm.
you did. I said 5 names. You gave me 8. I think I'm gonna
Sorry,
have
my
to.
bad.
No, 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 no. Because you did that. Because you did that. I think we're gonna have to set something else up for what to watching, because I don't watch college ball. Shout out
Mhm.
to Uncle Ice, Harlem Uncle Ice. He watches college ball and he told me about all these players. Like he talked Zakai Ziegler in Tennessee.
Mhm.
His, we know it's family now because his son knows him. So I get to watch and get more familiarized with these names. I usually don't watch any one of these guys until I see it's preseason. They show me some kid that they think about, they're drafting. I go look him up. Like I said with Porzingis. As soon as I saw the footage, I'm like, he looks amazing. What the hell are you guys booing about? But
Mhm.
and someone like yourself analyzing these college players, pay attention to them. Shout out your page
Mhm.
so we can do a reel on it, and we can promote it whenever you like. And yeah, let them know where we can catch you on.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm mostly on Twitter, pretty much only on Twitter for just to give it a quick wraps. It's just at Evan Townsend underscore. My DMs are open if you have any questions about the draft, about the Spurs. I would definitely be willing just to give you the real insight. A lot of analysts will just pretty much tell you what they want to hear, what is kind of safe to say. I'm willing to get canceled as long as you don't put me on blast. I'm willing to say anything and everything, give you the full reign. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And about Project Spurs.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
Project Spurs. Yeah, sorry, I love Project Spurs. They have definitely been a great brand to represent. I love working for them. I love the San Antonio Spurs organization as well. And to a T, if you want to hear some Spurs discourse, I know it can be a little bit boring. We're kind of like the redheaded stepchildren of the NBA. Not a lot of people hop in our spaces, maybe like 30 or 40 people at max. But either Tuesday or Wednesday around 4 p.m. Central, right before game time, we go live. Me and my co-host Ben Bornstein, great guy. Make sure you give him a follow as well. You can see him on my page. So yeah, and if you have any questions, like I said, about the draft, anything along lines of that, that's really what we talk about for the most part. So yeah.
get in touch with Evan Townsend. He's a great dude. I DM'd him. Like I said, he's very knowledgeable. I was always excited to hear. This is the magic of Hollywood.
Literally.
So that's my man Evan Townsend. Catch him on Twitter at Evan Townsend underscore. I put it in the description. You can catch him on Project Spurs. Put projectspurs.com. I'll have that in the description as well. He analyzes the NBA draft prospects and also the Spurs. He's big time on the Spurs. So if you're a heavy gambler, don't ask him what you need per se, but just get some information. Don't break anybody's legs. Fabian perspective. So expect it and accept it. Gotta thank Evan Townsend once again, and I'll catch you on the next episode.